Finding profitable, highly in demand ornament markets on Etsy is honestly one of the easiest parts of your business. However, making designs that actually stand out and sell in those markets is an entirely different story. That's why in today's video, I didn't just want to make you another basic design tutorial. I wanted to show you something that most creators will never reveal to you. So in today's video, you're going to not only get the chance to watch a seven-figure seller make a design, you're going to get to watch a seller who's made over 10,000 ornament sales on Etsy make a design from scratch. Now, this video is going to be such a high-value video for you if you're in the POD space, so I highly suggest watch it more than one time. And without further ado, let's jump right into this design session.
Hey guys, today I am going to be designing for a baby's first Christmas ornament. So here we are in incognito on Etsy, and I'm going to scroll down and see what people are already doing that's getting them to page 1. It's a really competitive market, so I'm going to see how I can stand apart. How can I get to page 1 inside of this market? That's what I'm trying to figure out here, and I'm going to walk you through that step by step, and we're going to end up with an end design that hopefully will be a bestseller. So we've got like a watercolor teddy bear right here. We've got some woodland creatures, another teddy bear. I do like to look at some of the ones that are not sublimation, just see what's happening on them, because maybe I can implement something they're doing on that 3D ornament into my sublimation ornament in some capacity. So we've got like birth stats happening here, these little babies on the moons here. More woodland watercolor creatures. A lot of those are happening. Pooh Bear. So we know we don't want to just come in here and make another woodland creature. We need to figure out how we're going to stand apart from what's happening on page 1. As I scroll down, there's a watercolor one right here. So a watercolor photo for First Christmas. Then there's this birth stat one right here. You'll see this a lot where it has like this chunky grid for birth stats. That's happening. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a submarket inside of Baby's First Christmas. On my high potential product list, I had probably 5 for Baby's First Christmas. One was rabbit, one was deer, one was the birth stats. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tackle the birth stats one and see if we can make a design that is going to stand apart from what's being done in that market. So what I'm going to do now is kind of hone in on this birth stat idea. I'm going to open up a new incognito window, and I'm going to type in baby girl. Let's go for the girl one since I have girls. Baby girl birth stat ornament. And let's see what's being done specifically in this market. So what I'm going to do, just so that you guys can see my whole process here, I'm going to make that screen smaller and pull this over here where I'm going to be designing. This is just the template that's inside of Inner Circle Prints. If you go to the catalog and then you go click on the ornament, click on number 2 inside of that, this will be your template that you're going to design with. I'm going to add a new page, and what I'm going to do is as I'm looking in this market, I'm going to start screenshotting things that are happening. So this is how I start every one of my designs. I write my market up here, so it's going to be baby girl. It's ultimately a First Christmas, so let's just put FC for First Christmas. First Christmas baby girl birth stat ornament. So the birth stat is that submarket. And then what I mean right here by value point, once I start looking at these, the value point is what do I have to include in this? What is a non-negotiable? And then we're going to point out what's being overused in terms of the design styles, the key design attributes, and what's being underused. So as I look over here, let's see. Okay, this is an ad, but I think it might show up right here. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to make it a little bit wider so I can grab 3 at a time, 3 or 4. I'm going to screenshot this so we can reference it while we are designing. I'm going to grab that. So I'm seeing coquette bows, these pink feet, this kind of watercolor rose coquette bow, this chunky grid thing happening, kind of like a doodle coquette bow. That's an ad. Okay, let me grab these 2. On my Mac, I can just do Command Shift 4, grab the screenshot and pull it over here. and I do that for inspiration. This is a bestseller, and it's been up for years. I wanna get that one. Okay, let's get a few more and see what's really happening in this market. So this one, they're able to print on the back, and they have the photo, and they have that chunky grid again. Let's grab a picture of that. You see the same things going on again and again. The chunky grid, you got the coquette bow, and you got the pink footprints. So how are we going to be able to create something that's different than all of that? I'm going to walk you through that. So the value point, what do I have to include in this? I think it needs to be pink. It has to have the stats on it. Like, these are obvious things. It has to have her name on it. And I want to make sure it has her first and middle because that's going to add value, not just her first name. Okay. And then in terms of the overused, okay, let's make this bigger so that you guys can see it better. In terms of the overused KDAs or design styles, I was seeing a lot of the coquette bows, the footprints, and the big chunky grid for the birth stats. Now, I think what I'm going to do is come back over here. Let's just go back to Baby's First Christmas Ornament and take a screenshot of the ones that were selling the best there, because we could pull inspiration from that into what we're designing. Okay, I'm thinking this. You see how minimal this is? And I see multiple like this selling well. Let's see if there's one further down. Yeah, see, here it is again. I'm going to pull a screenshot of that and see if somehow we can use that as inspiration in some way without doing what they are doing. So now what we're going to do is we are going to go look at my KDA vision board, which is where I've documented a lot of different design styles inside of ornaments, try to figure out if there's a gap in the market. So these are all proven design styles inside of ornaments. So we got personalization. We're definitely going to do that. I could do a rainbow. I wasn't seeing that being done. Stars, snowflakes, could do that. Watercolor. Yeah, it'll be watercolor. I know my KDA vision board pretty well because I've been using it for over a year now. And I do have this one right here on number 15 that is watercolor wildflowers that has sold inside of the ornament space very well. And I wasn't seeing that done inside of these girl birth stat inside of that market, which is surprising for me because it's a really feminine KDA. So my gut instinct is I need to figure out how to utilize that. So let's go back over here. Underused, I'm just going to type in wildflower, watercolor wildflower. And of course, we're going to make ours personalized. So one more thing before I start designing with a watercolor wildflower design, I'm going to go reference a parallel market just because I know that I don't do this normally with ornaments, but on certain ones I will. For this one, for instance, I know that there's other products on Etsy that do the whole birth stat thing. And so I just want to see what they're selling, and maybe it's going to inspire kind of the direction I go with the wildflowers. So let me open up a new private window, and I'm going to type in baby girl birth stat, see what autofills. So I've got blanket, sign, print. I think I'm going to click on sign. I could look at the blankets too. See what's happening here. Because, babies are being born all the time. What are people currently purchasing for their babies right now? So we've got bestsellers and popular now up here. And so I'm seeing like the coquette bow again. So possibly I could include that if I wanted to with the wildflower. It might be too much. We've got this scalloped edge that's happening. They have wildflowers on these. Let's just scroll down and see. Yeah, we've got this script font with a serif. Okay, this one says popular now. And it's got, here, it's not an ad, so let's click into it. 3 people bought it in the last 24 hours. It's got the coquette bow, but it has this really fancy or elegant script with a serif. It's got kind of like a vintage floral around it. And then it's got this kind of like hand-drawn rope doodle circle. I think this would translate really well onto an ornament because it's got that middle part that's going to be blank where we can have all of the information. So let's screenshot that one and pull it over. And then I saw another one with that scallop at the top. I'm seeing that happen multiple times. So it makes me think maybe it's a trending thing right now. See? Scallop, scallop. So I'm going to screenshot that as well and pull it over. So now what I will do, I'm going to make my inspiration smaller. And then usually under here I will write my plan so you know exactly what you're going to be making. I want some kind of vintage wildflower background because it's like these right here with the wildflowers, but more in this vein of what's selling right now. So I'm going to be looking for that. And then I think inside of that, what I'll do is I'll capitalize on this idea from the parallel market with the scallops. And I'll just do like a little scallop inside of it, scallop circle. And then I'm going to try to match these fonts and we'll see what we can come up with. Okay, so the first thing I would come over here to Canva and start looking for this vintage background. I'm going to go to Elements and I'm going to type in vintage wildflower paper background. I just put everything in here, seamless, and it'll start pulling up things. I can click on graphics and start scrolling through what they have. Sometimes I'll just pull them over, look at them closer, see if it's what I'm wanting. I want something more like this, but I need it to be more vibrant. So I'm going to click on see all and it gives me these magic recommendations. And I would prefer something with a white background. That's too patterny. I'm going to come over to Creative Fabrica too and see if I can find something over there. Okay, I'm going to type in vintage wildflower watercolor seamless and see if I can find something with a white background so that it looks crisp on that white ornament. Okay, let's just look at this and see. It's on a roll of paper. Let's try this because I can see how, if this is seamless too, yeah, I'll be able to duplicate it and let's try this. Okay, I'm going to go to uploads over here on Canva. It gave me 4, so I'm going to upload all 4 and see which one I like the best. This one is the whitest. Let's see if we can get it even more white. So I'm going to go to edit, adjust, pull the temperature down, which is going to take out that yellow a little bit, and then pull up the brightness. Maybe pull up the saturation. Saturation. Yeah, this is kind of the wildflower that I was thinking because I think it has. Let's get rid of these. It's got this kind of vintagey feel to it, but it reminds me of the wildflowers that were selling well on the ornaments from my research, which is the direction I want to go in. Okay, so when it's seamless paper, you can just hold down Option and copy it, and you can make it butt up against the other, and it'll be seamless. I'm thinking around the edge of the ornament, that's where the flowers are going to be visible. So I want to make sure the cute flowers are on the edge. Maybe that blue one and the pink right here. That's nice. And then you'll get a daisy in there. All right, so that's going to be our background. Well, what I do is inside of here with the template, I'm always going to be grabbing that template and putting it on top just so that I can see exactly where the hole in the ornament's going to be. So copy that. I'm going to paste it here, group it, and position it to the back. Group, position to the back. Okay. All right, so I have this little gray circle that's going to show me where it's going to print. I'll lower that just so that I can see what's going on. Yeah, so the blue and the pink are going to show in there. Now let's just position that to the back so we don't have to look at it right now. And go try to find a scallop circle. Hopefully there's one over here in Elements. Let's just see if this will work. I'm going to make it larger. When I click on the color, I'm going to try to change it to a color that's inside of this design. So let's try green. Nope, that's not feminine enough. Let's try... I like the pink, but I want a lighter pink. I think that'll make it more delicate. I'm using the eyedropper tool That's a nice pink, but it's almost fading in some places. Let's just see if we make this bigger. I do like this scallop though. We're gonna have to figure out how to make it white on the inside, and I'll show you how I would do that. Okay, let's just try a little bit of a darker, oh, Control Z, a little bit of a darker pink. Yeah, I think that's gonna be better. It's gonna show up better. And I just moved over here inside of this gradient, I just moved it to the right a little bit. So we're gonna make sure it's centered. Now, there might be a trick inside of Canva to make it white inside, but I don't have luck with Canva's AI. So what I'm gonna do is duplicate it. I'm gonna get rid of that background, get rid of everything except for that pink. I'm gonna download it to my computer and I'm gonna open it in Photopea and just add white in the middle and then re-download it and bring it back over here. All right, over here, photopea.com, or if you have Photoshop, you can use that. There's a bunch of different programs. Open from computer, and I'm going to open my scallop. All right, I'm going to select this magic wand tool right here on the left bar and select the background and then delete it. And then I hit Command D to deselect that. The middle's already white. If we needed to change the color of the scallop at this point, we could. Now I'm going to export it. File, export as PNG. So pull that over, get rid of that old one. Okay, so that's what we needed it to be. We needed it to be white. Now I need to figure out the text. So I'm going to pull that inspiration image from that parallel market to guide what font I'm going to use. Yeah, I love this. I love that it's popular now. It should really make us have a trendy design here. So on my KDA vision board, I know fonts are hard for some people. You can put in the work on the front end just to have a bunch of fonts that you can pull from. I know off the top of my head a font that looks similar to that that's in my library. So I'm going to, let's just pull this over here. Let's write Olivia. I like to use the name Olivia. We'll see if that looks good. And then it's called Little Love. You can get it on Creative Fabrica. Yeah, I like that. And it looks similar to that Evelyn. And yeah, I think that's going to be thick enough for sure. We don't have to thicken it up. But if you wanted to thicken it up, you would do that by going to Effects, Splice, change the color to that same black, reduce the offset, and reduce the thickness. But I like it without that thickness. So we're going to do that. And then the middle name, let's do Grace. This font reminds me of Recoleta, which I use a lot inside of ornaments. And that is bolded. That's way too bold. We're not gonna have it that bold. Make it smaller, add some letter spacing, always adding letter spacing to make it look more elevated. And then, yeah, let's thicken this one up. I always use splice instead of outline because it gives me more control over it. Make it a little bit thicker. That looks better. Okay, Olivia Grace. Okay. And now pulling inspiration from some of these more minimal ones. Because I'm not going for this bestseller that was popular a few years ago. Going for like a more minimal style like this. So I want my burst stats to be more minimal, like they are on these two on the left and the right. So I'm going to put that there. I'm going to use the same font. Let's just start playing around with what it would look like if this baby is 8 pounds, 3 ounces. The letter spacing is too much, so we're going to decrease that. Decrease that. Probably add another space right there. And then I like to add these little things, these little lines. See if that looks good. 21 inches. Okay, what comes after that? Maybe the time they were born. 641. I have a space after the LBS, the OZ, the IN, so I'll put a space here. Keep it lowercase for uniformity. Yeah, that looks delicate and nice. I was debating, should I make the text in pink, but I think it needs to pop more, so black makes sense here. And then My mind keeps going to, do I add a coquette bow? I feel like the coquette bow is really gonna make it too busy with the wildflowers on the outside, so I'm not gonna go that direction, but Baby's First Christmas ornaments, they always have the year on it, so let's add that down here. And with birth stats, I need it to have the day the baby was born. Okay, a little bit smaller. This is a big value point, this date right here. So I'm considering making it a little bit thicker just to pop out. Okay, and let's just try it. Let's put a date down here and see what it looks like. October. Okay, October 13th. We got 2026 under that. I like this. I feel like we still have some space to work with though. So I think what we could do, so you see on this best-selling one, it says My First Christmas. On a lot of the birth stat ones, it doesn't say that. It's just implied because it's birth stats. But I think we have space to add My First Christmas on here. So I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna move this down a little bit. Move her name down. I could even consider making it a little bit bigger. Let's try to arch it at the top. Let's make this a little bit closer. You always want to be thinking about, why are they going to want to choose mine over someone else's that's sitting right next to mine. This one they get too. It says My First Christmas. It has the first and middle name. It's got the elegance of something that's selling right now. Let's do it capitalized. And it needs to be a lot more letter spacing. And then I do need to arch it. So curve. Great. Yeah, the hole will be up here, so this will be fine. My First Christmas, Olivia Grace. And then we got the stats. Okay. So I think that looks good. I really am not going to be able to tell until I have it on the mock-up. So let's mock it up and I'll show you guys. I'll show you the way that I do mock-ups that I think is the best option. I have one that I downloaded last year from Etsy, and we're going to go over here to Photopea. Well, first let's download our artwork here. Download PNG. I am going to upscale it just to make sure that it's crisp on my mock-up. And download it. Now, the way that I like to do mockups the most is you go to Etsy, you find something that has a smart object or a PSD file, and that's what I'm going to open up here with Photopea. I have this mockup that's a PSD file. All right, so now I need to deselect right here. You see it says delete this layer, so I'm just going to select the eyeball and it's going to disappear. This layer right here, I'm going to double click on this square, and it's going to open up the smart object. This is where I'm going to place my artwork I just made. File, open in place. Grab my artwork. It pops right in there, and then I'm going to click the check mark and go to File, Save Smart Object. Oh yeah, that looks really good. I think I would consider, okay, let me zoom in on this for you guys.
All right, guys, real quick. For those of you who don't know, we have an upcoming 8-week-long live implementation cohort, all based around the product type of ornaments. Now, this cohort is unlike anything you've ever seen before. For the full 8 weeks, you get week-by-week guidance with one simple goal in mind. By the end of the 8 weeks, you will have an entire ornament business built from the ground up, ready to sell at high volumes for the Q4 season. So if you want to learn more about this live implementation cohort, the link is in the description below, and we hope to see you there.
I would consider choosing a scallop that's a little bit thinner. I think this one looks a little bit chunky, and maybe the scallop would have the sharp edges on it, but I am happy with this overall. But if I were to go back and work on that, that's what I would change about it. All right, just to show you guys kind of what this would look like in the market, we're going to go back to incognito. Baby girl birth stat ornament. I like to do this. I'll scroll down to a place where a lot of them are showing. I'm going to take a screenshot. Right here, it's just going to be of 2 rows. I'm going to pull it into my Canva document. And then I can also pull in the one that I mocked up. I'm going to zoom in on it like it would be from my mockups. All right, so on page 1, Ideally, mine makes it to page 1. This is what it would look like. It's next to all of these other designs, and it really stands out because it says My First Christmas. It's got that trending wildflower thing that was happening that we saw on the side market, the kind of vintage feel with the scalloped edge that was trending. But we're staying true to that gap in the market that was on our KDA vision board that no one else was doing. Yeah, so, and I think the fonts are great together. I think it's going to be a bestseller.